we'll be talking about fossils. Now fossils are animals that have slowly over millions of years turned to rock. There are four main types of fossils. These are traced fossils, cast fossils, true-form fossils, and mold fossils. Trace fossils are signs of the animal's behavior, such as fossil eggs, footprints, and excrement. Mold fossils are imprints of the animal. True-form fossils are the genuine animal, with its whole body unimpaired, and cast fossils are simply mold fossils filled with materials such as clay or rock. Fossils tell us about Earth's history, letting us look into the lives of magnificent prehistoric animals. Fossils are very interesting and important, so there must be people who study fossils, right? Correct. Paleontologists are people that devote their life to studying and finding fossils. Paleontology is the art of studying and excavating fossils. So now you know about fossils, but have you seen any yet? Let's get looking at some incredible fossils. So I do own some fossils, and I'm going to show you some amazing, real, authentic fossils. So first up, we have a tiny trilobite. So I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but if you look really closely onto this piece of rock, there is a tiny, tiny speck. That is a tiny trilobite. I do have a bigger one here, which I'll show you, which is about the size of my hand, which is right over here. So trilobites were basically creatures that lived like 1 billion years ago, and they used to feed on the ground and crawl around, and they basically looked a bit like this. And they were like ancient insects. Then we have a fossil clam, which is from Braidwood. And clams and fossil brachiopods, lots of people confuse them, but clams are a lot different. As you can see, the creature is still preserved inside, which is very rare. As you can see, a little bit of the back is chipped off, so you can see what the armor looks like from inside. And clams haven't changed much over all that time. Then over here, we have some crinoids. These are from the Devonian period, where bony fishes ruled, and they've been found in the Sahara Desert. Crinoids, so these are the stalks, and on top of these used to be like octopus-like body shapes, and they basically were filter feeders. They used to stay on the ground, and they used to catch plankton and other stuff to eat. So. Next we have a dinosaur bone from the Eocene, so the first stage of the dinosaurs, as you can see. It's not a tooth, even though it looks like one. It's a bone of it, and it's been found in Africa and from the Eocene. So it was basically not a dinosaur, but really close to becoming a dinosaur. Eocene was when the first dinosaurs. Okay, next we have a fossilized echinoid. So this is from the Cretaceous period, and it's similar to the crinoid. If you might have seen those sand dollars on the ground, it's similar to that except with a stalk, and it used to feed off plankton. So here we have Orthoceras. So this is like the shell, and inside there was like an octopus-like creature. So you might have seen pictures of Ammonites. I have a few of those. It's just like that, except with a cone kind of shell. Then we have some sea snake vertebrae, ancient sea snake vertebrae. I'm thinking from around the dinosaur times, from North Africa. And as you can see, they look really similar to if you see a modern day bones of sea snakes. You can see how they kind of connected together on the back of the sea snake, which helped it move like with ease through the water. Next we have a fern. So unlike all the other ones, this is not an animal. It's a fern, Picopterus, from the Carboniferous period, where the carbon dioxide level in the air was really high. So bugs grew to huge sizes and populated basically everywhere. And plants also grow to huge size. So if you look closely, you can see the black marking on this. That's a fern embedded in the rock. So this would be an example of a true form fossil because the actual fern is actually inside there. Then we have, so you might have seen garfish. They're still alive today, and they were also alive in ancient times. So these are some garfish fossil scales from South Dakota. So thousands of these just covered the whole garfish so it could catch other fishes to eat. So you can see over here. They're actually thick, and it needed a lot of them to protect itself from crocodiles and other stuff. We have some fossil fish vertebrae, which looks just like the sea snake vertebrae, except it was in a snake. It's from Morocco, North Africa. It's where a lot of these fossils are found. Next. So here we have some Triceratops bones from the USA. These are real, authentic Triceratops bones. I don't know from which part of the Triceratops they're from. I also have some more Triceratops bones, which are rib bones, which are pretty big. I'll show you those. You might have heard that now they're actually thinking that Triceratops might have been the baby of another dinosaur called Torosaurus, which was similar. It was a ceratopsian, so it had the same build with the horns and the shield. So these are the Triceratops rib bones. It's from South Dakota. As you can see, they're really big, and a lot of these along the ribs, as you can feel your ribs. It'll have big chunks, so this is actually how fat its ribs were. It needed a lot of protection because they were more about armor. So I'm going to take it out and show it to you. We need to be very gentle. It's important to be gentle with fossils. So this is actually just all dust and trash, but this is the real thing. This is an actual rib bone from a Triceratops embedded in the rock. So that's really cool. Another really cool thing I have is a full intact fish with all its parts. We'll get to that in a second. Right now we have fish bone fragments from North Africa again. So a lot of the fish and aquatic creatures come from North Africa for the fossils. They have the best finds over there because the sediment is very good. So these are just fragments of prehistoric fish. Now, we have some orthodont shells. So I showed you an orthodont before, I'm pretty sure, or Placeris. So this one's actually in the rock, so this is the cone, and the octopus would have been here. So this is like a form of mold fossil. It's not the actual thing. It's like the pattern of it, because it got pressed in, but it's filled in with rock and clay. And I have another small one in here. It's a little bit hard to see in this one. Okay, next, this one is really amazing. It's actually the jawbone of a prehistoric manatee. So manatees today are highly endangered. And here you can see where the teeth fit in. So this is like the actual bone. So this is another fossil that it's an actual true form. So it must be gentle. So when it chewed, it would be like this, and this would move like this, allowing it to easily grind its food. Now I'll show you the fossil fish. It's pretty amazing. It's from the Green River in Nigeria. I'll take it out so you can get a close look. It's a true form fossil. The real fish is inside. And it's been deposited into the sandstone. So this is actually the fish. And it's the real fish. Over here you can see its fin. You can see markings of its rib bone. This is where its eye should have been. And you can clearly see the fish Okay. Now, we have some prehistoric shark teeth. These are really common fossils. I have a bunch of them. We'll probably see more over there too. So, yeah. They're actually from the Jurassic period, so when dinosaurs were just starting to evolve into huge beasts. Until then the Cretaceous followed. That was when they would get truly huge and ferocious. Another thing from the Jurassic period, an ammonite. I told you I'd show you some ammonites. I have like 2 ammonites. This is the big one. If you can see it clearly, this is the spiral, and this is actually where the opening was. So this is where the octopus-like thing would come out, the cephalopod. So it would float like this, and some scientists actually have a theory that it would go inside. That's how a turtle does with its shell, a pond turtle, to protect itself with its hard shell. But one thing they know for sure is the reason it had the shell is to protect itself from many things that try to eat it, like mosasaurs. Mosasaurs were huge reptilian beasts that used to live in the water, and they're like half land animal, half sea animal. And this is a tooth of a real mosasaur from the Cretaceous period. Teeth of the mosasaur. This is a back one, so it's a bit small. It's still really big if you compare it to your own tooth, but they could grow as big as this. And it was kind of like the same system as sharks. They kept on losing teeth and regrowing teeth. Now, an Edmontosaurus spitter tooth. A tiny tooth of an Edmontosaurus from the Cretaceous period. So, yeah, Edmontosauruses were herbivores, just if you were wondering. They did not eat meat. It's from Hell Creek, South Dakota. And now we have a fossilized turtle shell fragment from Yarmouth, UK. And it's actually really cool because I'll show you what they mean by fragment. See this? But inside it has all the armor plating. You can see actually inside it. So basically there were like hundreds of these all formed into like a dome shape at the top of the turtle to protect it up. A bit like modern day turtles. There was one called Archelon that's bigger than any turtle, even the Galapagos giant tortoise that lives today. It was truly huge. This is a Brachiopod, a really small one from the Ordovician. So long ago before the dinosaurs. And it's kind of like a clam kind of thing. You can see the ridges in it. I'll take it out so you can see it a bit better. As you can see, the ridges are sprouting out in it, and you can see how it's related to a clam. Okay, now we're moving on. The next thing I have is actually a mammal bone. It's a small one, but it's the bone of a mammal from the Ice Age, actually. So that was around when humans were starting to just evolve. The Homo sapiens were there, but it was more Neanderthals and Homo erectus. So you have a mammal bone. I don't know exactly what mammal it's from, but it's more like it's from a little weasel or something like that. So you can observe it closely and see those ridges. It looks like a piece of wood, but it isn't. As you can see, they look like they're man-made. They're so fine, but it's not actually man-made. So this is probably from the inside of a rodent like a weasel or a mustelid, something related. Now we're nearing the end, so I'm going to show you some amazing ones. The Triceratops are amazing. These are pretty amazing too. So this is a real Hadrosaurus bone. Yeah, it's really amazing because the size of it is actually big. So you can see this is from the inside, and this is its actual armor. You can even see the pattern of the scales almost. It's a very well fossilized specimen. So it used to fit in, so if you were a hadrosaur, it would fit in about here. It had the scales on the side. There's a heavily armored one, but not as armored as the other ones like ankylosaurs and ceratopsians. Now we have a jellyfish, which is actually amazing because jellyfishes are really hard to preserve and to turn into a fossil because they're so delicate with no bones. It's amazing that it actually survived. So you can see the outer edge of the jellyfish. And it actually preserved, which is amazing. It's really hard because usually bones and teeth and stuff like that preserve. So it's really rare for a worm or a slug or a jellyfish to be preserved. And that's why all the ammonites I was showing you, it didn't have the octopus part, right? Because it's soft, it rots away, it decomposes. It never stays there. Okay, so you know stingrays? This is from Morocco. It's a fossil stingray spine, pieces of it. So just at the back of the stingray over here, all the way down to the tail. They look like small pieces of wood. But you can see the serrated edge. So like barbs in today's stingrays, it would have, like the sharp part would have hit other animals from the side if they got too close to a stingray. So this is another type of brachiopod from the Cretaceous, when dinosaurs were roaming the planet. This one wasn't very well preserved. It's still coated in a bit of rock. These are more fossil shark teeth. I have a lot of those because they're quite common. In the back I have a white one, which is really cool. Presumably from a sand tiger shark or an ancient species of it. Now this is really amazing. Even to have one of it that's not fossilized would be amazing. Prehistoric armadillo armor. Armadillo armor is already very valuable. So inside you can see how it might have fixed the inside of the animal to protect it. And you can see it's kind of, you can tell that it can roll up. It's a more flexible type of armor. On the outside, you can see the patrons, the little denticles here. This used to protect it, and it was in a dome shape. So if a predator came and tried to bite it, its teeth would just slide off. It wouldn't be able to get in. Whereas if it was a rectangle, it could easily just punch her in, no matter how strong the armor was. That's why dome shapes are usually efficient for armor techniques. Now, another fossil clam. Another one from Braidwood. You can see the little edge. Not much to say about this one. It's just a normal fossilized clam. Now I'll be back in 1 minute. I'm getting something that's not a fossil, but it's really amazing. So this wasn't completely fossilized. You could call it a true form fossil, but it was preserved so well that it didn't become fossilized. It didn't turn to rock. It's the actual of what it was. So, this is what it is. You might be wondering, why is this dumb guy holding a piece of wood? It's not a piece of wood. This is an authentic piece of a mammoth tusk. So it would have been like this, curved. It would have been on this side of the tusk, there would be another part this, and it would be really long. Curved at the end. So this is one of the parts that would be the strongest. It would be over there, so it would be the strongest. It wouldn't be at the end where the curved is, which could have cracked. So you can see all the indentations from it. It's been preserved for a long time. It's amazing. It hasn't even turned to rock. That's how well preserved it is. And from the inside, you can see how the inside of a mammoth tusk actually looked. It kind of looks like the inside of bamboo. And it was very durable. More durable than elephant ivory, which is highly prized these days. And one more thing from a mammoth. Real mammoth hair. So this is preserved mammoth hair, so it's not turned into rock. So if you can, I'll show you it. I can't take it out of the Ziploc, but I'll show you it inside. You can see probably how thick it is compared to human hair. human hair is really thin. It needed this. It needed hundreds and thousands and millions of these hairs just covering each other. A few layers, actually, because it was really cold and it needed to protect itself. If you compare it to A and our hair, it's really thin compared to this. This is very thick to protect itself. And the last thing, last but not least, another Ammonite. This is a bit of a small one, but it's more well preserved. You can see it more clear. Right here. This is her last thing. You can see the ridged pattern around the edges. You can see how it curves into a direct spiral. The ancient Greeks used to think there were serpents that were turned into stone by the gods as a punishment. And they used to put heads on here, fake snake heads, as a ceremonial purpose. You can see these ridges. This is where the Ammonite would have been. So this would have been a baby, a small one, floating like this. The tentacles would have came out of here. So that's about all the fossils I'm going to show you. So that's about it for this episode. I hope you learned a lot from this video about fossils, and I hope you have a new interesting fossils now, because that's what I'm trying to do in this video. And be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons if you like this video, and see you next time.